I think the last time I played, I pretty much was finishing Kashyyyk. You might want to do something this time that I haven't done really, and talk to our party members. And we need to dump that mysterious rock. Okay. I'm sort of thinking that talking to them might gain us some advantages, like with the HK-47. Only with him you have to actually have some skills to progress things. And we've achieved quite a bit already, so probably somewhat of a decent chunk of things that we could talk about with them. I'm not intending to make a huge ass session just talking to them, but at least we could talk to a few of them, ask about how the, so we get to know them a little bit better.
Got something on your mind, dude?
We can't really ask, at least not here. We can make healing hits. Have you seen all the Giska we have on board? Yeah, this is a retarded question, so I'm not going to even bother. Do you know anything about this place? It is Kashyyyk, so yeah, all the options are bad.
Oh, I get it. Let's play with the old man's head, is it? He's half senile. He'll forget I said anything. Wait, well, what was this about anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
Statement. HK-47 is ready to serve, Master.
I can play a fighter simulation here. Do you know anything about these Giska, HK?
Statement. I have little knowledge of that to impart, Master.
Well,
Statement.
that's useful. Can I restore more of your memory?
Negatory. I believe that there are no further deleted memories which can be safely retrieved, Master. All earlier memories reside in my core. Those are protected by my safeguards and would be far too dangerous to access. The only way those memories could be obtained is through the proper stimulus, whatever that might be. I am sorry, Master.
Okay.
Statement. As you desire.
Yeah, what do you want?
More war stories.
You want another war story, huh? You want to hear about some other world getting wasted, eh? I knew you were the type. Your stagnant republic has never seen some of the strange creatures and races we fought on the Outer Rim in those years. And you never will now.
Hey, where did you fight this time?
We were going through the asteroid fields of the Crispin system at the very edge of the galaxy, playing with the pirates and smugglers we found there. The main belt in the Crispin system consists of mainly small rocks covered in frozen methane gas shells, and the pirates were using them for cover. Ha! I remember using a thermal generator to cause the outer layer of one of the asteroids to vaporize in a picosecond. It blew out and shredded the 3 smugglers using it for cover. But that was a mistake.
Did it backfire?
The asteroid I had targeted was smaller than most, maybe a dozen meters on a side. On the outside, it looked the same as any other, just a ball covered in frozen gas. But something must have been inside it, something inactive, in the cold. The heat of my blast might have triggered something, or woken something up. After I'd hit it, spots of light and heat appeared all over the thin shell, still covering it, evaporating the gases. What lay underneath looked like some sort of rocky growth. A deformed rock, pitted by scores of micrometeorite scars. I think something even older might have been inside that.
What happened next?
It started rotating faster and faster as we watched it. After a second, it started spraying fire, thermal projectiles that melted our armor like wax. We were caught completely by surprise. Before we could counterattack, it fled at an incredible speed.
A ship.
We couldn't catch it, but we could follow its hyperspace wake. We followed its trail as far as we could, heading away from the galactic core. When it finally led beyond the edge of our galaxy, we abandoned our efforts. Anything that wants to commit suicide in that great void is not worth our trouble trying to catch. That's the only story I have for now. I'll tell you some more stuff later if we get the chance. Is there something else you want to know?
He made adrenal stimulants.
Stimulants make a warrior out of even the weakest human. Here's a speed-boosting stimulant to help you get quicker. There anything else you need?
More stimulants?
Hey, don't worry. I think you've got enough there as it is. You don't want to overload yourself on stims. Otherwise, you might destroy your adrenal system. A real warrior knows his own limits and doesn't overestimate himself. There anything else you need?
I was wondering if you had more war stories.
I don't have as many strange stories like the last one I told you, but I do have a couple about me and the stuff I've done. In one battle above the world of Althir, my unit managed to defeat a force of Althiri 10 times our own size. That battle gained me command of an entire subsect of my clan.
Tell me the story.
For 5 days, they had managed to hold off our forces, keeping us to the outer rings of their world, preventing us from attacking it directly. My task was to assault one of their flanks with a false attack. The Althiri would be drawn out by the units I had sent in. Once they had surrounded those units, the bulk of my forces would attack from the rear and defeat them in detail.
Did it work?
Things didn't go as I had planned. I saw an opening, a mistake they had made in the disposition of their forces, and took it. While fending off our main force, they had let their fleet split in two. The center of their entire fleet was left exposed. I turned my forces and assaulted the center of their fleet, decimating them.
What did they do?
Their slow, ponderous ship could not turn to face us without being overwhelmed. The command vessels were destroyed in seconds. Their ranks were thrown into chaos. It was amusing to watch the surviving ships scatter and flee. Several even tried to dive through the plane of the rings to escape us. They were shredded by the rings, or crashed into rocks, or were destroyed by our forces as we pursued them. Warriors do not flee from a battle if they are losing. They fight to the end, as we did against your Jedi Revan. Another time, maybe I'll tell you about how the war with the Republic went. For now, let's just get on with things. Is there something else you want to know?
Nothing for now.
Your choice. I'm here if you want something done right.
Mission.
Huh? Oh, sorry. I was thinking about Terrace. I still can't believe it's gone. I mean, I grew up there and now it's just gone.
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
I don't really think there's anything you can say. I just have to find some way to deal with it, I guess. It'll take some time. Look, I'm not saying I can't go on or anything like that. It's a shock, you know? I mean, I knew the Sith were evil and all, but the reality of it kind of slaps you in the face. But I suppose that's why we need to stop Malik, right? The more time I spend dwelling on Terrace, the more chance some other planet will get wiped out. I guess that's what it comes down to. So don't worry about me. I'll be okay. And if you need my help against Malik or the Sith, I'll be there for you. Hey there. What can I do for you?
Well, hello there. She can make security spikes.
No problem. Just so happens I've got one here I've been working on. Here you go. I'll just add it to our inventory. Anything else you need? No problem. Just so happen. Anything else you need? No problem. Anything? No problem. Anything? No problem. Any? No problem. Any? No problem. Any? Nope. Any? Sorry, I don't have one handy right now. Besides, we've got plenty of security spikes already. Not much point in overloading on them, is there?
Yes, we can sell them for profit.
Hey there, what can I do for you?
Well, it's a good thing to discover. We can get free items from them, so it also makes it we can basically splurge security spikes if we have the chance. Something with adrenaline too, because we can always refill at least to a certain minimum point by talking to our party members. Do you feel like playing some Berserk?
Want to practice your skills, eh? Sure.
I don't.
Hey there, what?
Do you know anything about Planet Ooh, talk to you about your brother.
I'm sorry for the way I acted before. It's just that when it comes to Lena, I tend to get a little worked up.
Why do you hate her so much?
My brother and me had a good thing going. Sure, Griff had his run-ins with the law on Terrace, but we got by okay, until Lena came and ruined everything. She was a dancer at the cantina where my brother used to go play Pazik. Griff could be a real smooth talker, and it wasn't long before the two of them were dating. But Lena was used to dating rich Teresian nobles, guys with mountains of credits. Griff could never give her the lifestyle she was used to, no matter how hard he worked.
Hey, did Lena dump him?
I thought Lena would brush Griff off when she saw how poor he was, but for some reason, she stuck around. I guess she saw the potential for a big payday down the road.
So what about? I don't want to take sides here. Try to criticize her or how she saw things, although she was a little kid, so I'm more interested in just hearing out the story without commenting on it too much. So what happened?
After they'd been together for a few months, Griff told me he was leaving Terrace. He and Lena were gonna try and make their fortune off-world. He promised as soon as he made enough credits he'd come back and get me, and we'd all live like royalty. That was 2 years ago. I haven't seen him since. I don't even know where he went.
Maybe something happened.
Oh, I know what happened. As soon as she got him off Taurus, Lena sunk her claws into Griff butt good. She twisted him around her little finger and made him forget all about me. I know I'll probably never see Griff again. But part of the reason I came with you was the hope that I could find out what happened to my brother. Don't worry. I won't let the search for Griff get in the way of what we're doing. Let's just get back to the task at hand. Is there anything else I can help you with?
I have a hard time believing that a criminal and a scammer and a smooth talker would be so easily manipulated by a dancer. Never mind.
Okay, have it your way. Hey there.
Okay, we can reinitiate the discussions to continue these. I want to talk to you about your brother.
Don't worry. I won't let the search for Griff get in the way of what we're doing.
No.
Okay.
It just doesn't lead anywhere anymore. Okay. I don't want to hear your moaning. I'm sorry.
I feel I must apologize for the way I acted towards you before, in the Grove. It was wrong of me.
Damn right. Apologize.
I am sorry for attacking you. I am sorry for thinking you would only try to kill me. I hope that by helping you in your task, I may redeem myself in your eyes, and in my own.
I think it's going to take a lot for that to happen.
It may, but I am prepared to do what it takes. I can only hope that, in our time journeying together, I will succeed.
I do actually mean that. I don't take attempted murder lightly. I think there's certain lines as a character, if I play these, that I'm not once someone crosses it, it's, as far as I'm concerned, that it's all over at that point. Maybe the game wants to make some kind of a story that someone's evil to a great extent, then turns around and becomes a good guy, but I think there's, once you cross a certain point, right, attempted murder being one of them, that's it. There's no forgiving after that. It's basically kill or be killed at that point.
How may I be of assistance to you, Padawan?
Let's talk.
What is it you would like to speak to me about?
You're doing alright.
I thank you for your concern, but I am still a bit shaken.
What's wrong?
I have been thinking about myself, about KOTOR, and about my fall to the dark side. I keep thinking that it was my anger that drove me that far, that nearly damned me. I look inside myself now and I can still see it. I still feel it.
Yeah, perhaps you need more time. I don't. I got at least the impression that that's something that Jedi's do. It's not something that'll go away. It's not the point for you to try to erase all those things about you. It's try to not let them have a control. So you consciously suppress such things. Perhaps you need more time.
More time would do me good. Time to distance myself from that anger. I think that is why the Council agreed to send me with you. They think, perhaps, that in your company, I will be able to free myself from it.
I can't afford to look after you all the time.
I do not come here begging for scraps from you. I will earn my way with you. You will see just how valuable I am. How may I be of assistance?
Miss Salk,
What is it you would like to speak to me about?
what's your past? What are you thinking about?
I have been thinking much about our journey, and I am grateful and honored that you have accepted me with you. I am not used to such unbiased acceptance from one who is nearly a stranger to me. We KOTOR do not make friends easily, or for long. Even on Dantooine, I remained alone. Not ostracized exactly, but separate.
Tell me about the KOTOR.
In truth, I have lived in the Republic too long, and I know little. I never met any others of my race other than my parents. But we are not diplomats. We do not deal well with groups. This situation is new to me. It is warming. I feel almost welcome. Needed. You seem to be very decisive when it is required of you. It is reassuring to know that I can count on someone like you.
We're all in this together.
Yes, and that is my point. I find it difficult to explain. It is so different from what I am used to. Just thank you for accepting me. How may I be... What?
Tell me about your past.
Well, I suppose I have not talked very much about the Jedi I met back home. They, all of them, were so very invigorating.
Invigorating?
They were so very alive, so full of hope and energy and zeal. In retrospect, I can see it was a little bit tragic. Well, yes. These Jedi were going to fight the Mandalorians just after they had invaded. Many of those Jedi perished in the fighting, but to us, they seemed invincible. Especially their leader, who they talked about all the time. Paragons of light and justice, sweeping away all iniquity before them. It was like looking at gods.
Jedi are not gods.
I know that. I was using poetic license. But those Jedi, they were enthralling. Everyone wanted just to touch them. Some people thought it would bring them luck. Not that the peace they brought lasted very long.
What happened?
The Jedi left. The people grew complacent. Those who had been wronged saw their chance at revenge. And so the cycle continues. The oppressed become the new generation of oppressors. The human oppressed, that is. The non-humans were never treated well in any case. We felt the brunt of both administrations.
Was it that bad?
Of course it was. They took their frustrations and hate out on us because the people they wanted had already fled or were too well protected. But no one looks out for the injustices we suffered. Oh no, but I am sorry. I should not have outbursts like that.
As long as you don't let your anger influence you.
Don't you see? The very fact I mentioned it means it has its influence. Anger can lead to the dark side, and I must be ever careful that I do not fall back into those ways. I thank you for your support. My outburst was uncalled for, but you did not lash back at me. You are a much better Jedi than I, it would seem. But let us not speak more of this now. We should continue on our journey. Perhaps later we will talk again. Yes.
Something wrong.
I have been bothered by something of late.
How put it?
I never told you where I came from, did I? Where I grew up as a child? I suppose I was trying to deny what I was feeling.
Are you hitting on me? You dumbass.
I have been wrestling with my feelings inside. Trying to come to terms with it, but I find I cannot. I must have someone to blame. Someone to blame for the destruction of my homeworld. Someone who is responsible for the death of everyone I have ever known, except those on Dantooine.
You mean?
Taris. It was Taris that the Sith destroyed to try to kill you and your precious Bastilla. Taris, my homeworld.
I thought you hated your homeworld.
It was my home. If it were not for you and Bastilla, the Sith would have never had reason to destroy that world. It was your fault for being there, and your fault for rescuing Bastilla. Without your intervention, the Sith would have had no cause to lay waste to my childhood. Just let me vent my anger. I need someone to blame. Something. Anything. I hated that world. Yet everything I learned as a child, I learned there. It is as much a part of me as the air I breathe. I have this ache inside me, where all my childhood memories lay, and I find your face there with them. If it was not for you, that world would still exist.
What a shame. I have no excuses. I did what I needed to.
I know. I suppose I realized that. But it is so hard to lose your entire past. You would not understand.
Right, I don't.
I suppose that is to be expected. Everything will turn out for the best, as long as we remain focused on our task. I am sorry. I will try not to distract you in the future with my trivial experiences. We should stop for now.
Should I have pretended that I know? Tried to lie to her face. I don't see how that's a good option. If that's a problem for her, then watch her.
Yes. What is it? I was remembering
Oh, God.
Taris.
Okay, out with it. What about it?
It was a horrible place to have to live. At least in the lower cities where the non-humans tended to get relegated. Living for years in a place with no sun, living off the trash dropped from the upper levels, and the meager pay doing back-breaking labor.
Hmm. I don't remember seeing any of your race on Terrace.
There were none. Bad enough to be a race that is feared and hated by humans, but to be one that is strange and different, even among non-humans? But living was hard enough, without the stigma of being from a lost race. There was always the danger of raccoons coming up from the sewers, or more mundane predators living and working in the area. My family and I struggled each and every day to make something of our lives, but we could only go so far. Taxes from the corrupt government, more fees from the gangs controlling the streets, and whatever was left paying for what food and medical supplies we could afford.
How could such a government last?
It did not, but only because of the Jedi who came. It was very bad, with no money to spare for any amenities. Even the Enclave on Dantooine seems a paradise in comparison. And of course, there was the constant bigotry and hate from the more affluent and human citizens, lording their wealth over us living below. Every once in a while, a rich human would come down through the lower levels with his droid entourage just to see how the wildlife lived, and laughed at the mockeries that were our successes. But I have come to meet many decent humans in my travels since those days. Indeed, some of the greatest people I have ever met are human.
One of the Jedi you met?
The Jedi who encouraged me to join the Order. The one who was with the group going to fight the Mandalorians. She was human. I am sorry. I am getting away from my point. If there even was one. Sometimes, I curse the day my parents fled to Taris. But then again, if they had not, I would not be where I am today.
Her parents.
Another story for another time. For now, we must continue our own epic. To save the galaxy, if we can. How may I be of a... What is it you would like? Well, I mentioned before that my parents had fled to Taris. Perhaps I can tell you about that.
Go on.
In the early days of the Mandalorian War, there had been fighting closer to the Outer Rim worlds.
Near the world your species comes from.
KOTOR was there, yes. My people had a great reputation as warriors, and that appealed to the Mandalore version of honor. They sought to test themselves against us, I think. Test themselves by bombing our world, slaughtering my people while they slept or while they ran.
How did it happen?
They swooped down from space across the world, firing at anything that moved. They used ships in space to destroy all orbital facilities and bombard the surface. We did resist, and in spite of their violent attack, we did stave them off for quite a while. But in the end, we were doomed.
Why did the Republic not help you?
We were not members of the Republic. KOTOR was beyond the edge of the Republic, in the Outer Rim. And besides, they could not have known. Our interstellar communications were the first things the Mandalores hit. All other short-range communicators were jammed. We were on our own. We knew what was coming. We had fought the Mandalorians in the first war against Exar Kun and the Sith. We knew there would be no mercy for us. The most we could do was pack the few of our people who survived onto what few ships remained and send them off into space as fast as they could. Most did not make it.
You survived.
My parents carried me as a baby with them, and were lucky enough to escape. They fled as far as they were able, and eventually settled on Taris. They could stand running no further, I think. But Taris was a horrible choice. Dominated by humans, intolerant of other species, it made everyday life unnecessarily hard.
How did your family cope?
My father turned to stimulants. He spent much of his time in local bars and dives. But we are warriors. It runs through our blood. And when he was on stims, he became foolish. He let his warrior nature get the best of him. So he would get intoxicated, and he would fight. And finally, one day, he would die.
How?
Killed by a man who provoked him into a fight and killed him like an animal. I am sorry. I cannot talk about this any longer right now. How may I be... What did...
No, that... She had a lot to talk about. Yeah, what about the guy here? Programming spike. Hello? Repair parts seem to be the only thing that I can just magic out of thing here. You don't talk much, do you? Hey, just chime in if you ever have any advice. Is that everything he has to say? Questions? You don't even know what I was going to ask. Apparently I can't do anything with him. These two, they probably have a significant amount of dialogue, at least potentially.
Yes, what's on your mind? You do? Well, fair enough. What do you want to discuss?
About your issues.
I know you wouldn't understand where I was coming from. Let me try and explain. You got the skills of an elite commando, and you saved my butt more than once. Between that and your facility with languages, I'm lucky you're here. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna stop watching you or being wary. I'm just not built that way. Period.
And what exactly are you watching me for?
I don't know that yet. Like I said before, it's probably nothing, but I've been betrayed by people before, and well, it won't happen again. That's all.
Of course it won't. You never trust anyone.
Look, I'm not trying to insult you. This is just the way I am. No need to take it personally.
Can I trust you then?
Me?
Why not you? Yes, you. Why should I trust you after all?
You shouldn't. If you're smart, you won't trust anyone. Not me, not Bastila, and especially not yourself.
Not PC advice, I see.
I don't need to be analyzed, thanks. Can we just get back to business?
Sure. So you don't want to talk about it?
No, I don't want to talk about it. What I want is to save the galaxy, if that's even possible. Why is whether or not I trust you or anyone so damned important to you? Why do you even care? We don't have time for this, so can we please just drop it for now? Can we pick it up later if you really must? I want to get underway.
Fair enough.
How can I help?
Do you know anything can be done about all this? I think we can't talk to
Then I
Bastila.
suggest we move on.
So I think she should be in the party, at least to some extent, sort of get the We need to go to Manan to reclaim our reward.
Kalo Nord is dead, Lord Malik. He has failed in his mission. Forgive me.
The penalty for failure is death, Admiral Kareth. But the failure was Kalo's, not yours. You may rise.
Shall I hire another bounty hunter, Lord Malik?
No mere bounty hunter can stand against a Jedi. I shall not make the same mistake again. My apprentice, Darth Bandon, shall take care of our young Jedi friend.
So he's a dick.
Find Bastila and bring her to me, alive, if possible.
As you command, Master.
I'm going to take Bastila and well, anyone else with me. I'll dump them when I actually get the Geno Haradan guy. Just in case something interesting happens. But it seems, at least with Bastila, she has to be in the group walking around for her dialogue to open up. And we have a ton of level ups we need to do on many characters. We probably should have the speed. Everyone who's not using heavy armor should definitely have the speed. Raise charisma. It's only 1 point and gets an additional modifier. It's not a bad investment, but I'll rather invest in wisdom. It increases the force point pool, and that's pretty important if you intend to use your force abilities. Force immunity paralyzes? Makes sense. Okay, we are still missing vital combat stats. Combat feats. Ooh, better healing. Ooh, play. We'll take that one. You can't resist that. It really is quite powerful. Destroy droids. That's better healing. Okay. We should also... We need to go through the equipment properly at some point.
And you need?
What?
Preferably sooner rather than later. I want everyone to have at least decent equipment or weapons ready. Don't have to be super well equipped, but in a way that if I have to use them, I don't have to worry about the equipment immediately. Yeah, okay. I noticed that Jolet 2 didn't have any dialogue, so I assumed it might open up too if I take them with us, so I'll use the opportunities to speak to these two guys at least.
Got something on your mind, do
Hmm.
you?
Know anything about this place?
Manan's an unusual place. Not for its water, mind you. It's the KOTOR. Healing juice. Only place where it occurs in the galaxy. And that's about all I got to say about that. Now, let's get going.
Spies must flow. Why did you decide to come with me?
You got yourself a fast little ship? I forgot what engine sounded like. The closest thing to that on Kashyyyk is an uller in mating season. Ugh, frightful.
Do you want to ride on my ship?
Or it could be for the free food. What's the gunk that comes out of a synthesizer on this bucket anyway? Do you never clean the darn thing?
Yeah, if you don't want to answer the question, just say so.
How impatient can one person be? You must have driven your mother mad. All that gurgling and fussing. Babies are cute, but annoying. You know, you remind me of someone else I knew ages ago. Pleasant enough fellow, great destiny, all of that. Breath like a bantha.
Did you annoy this person endlessly too?
Oh, very funny. Is it my fault that some people are so easily annoyed? Like impatient little children with blasters. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, Andor Vex was his name. The force swirled around him like a hurricane. That's how great his destiny was.
Never heard of him.
No, you wouldn't have. Sometimes swirling force is just swirling force. It gets us old Jedis excited at our age, so we go, ooh, destiny. Well, it turned out that poor Andor believed a wee bit too much in the infallibility of that destiny. That overconfidence turned out to be his downfall.
There's supposed to be some hidden meaning in this. No. Story, does it have a point?
Does it have to have a point?
Yes.
I thought we were just talking about Andor. Something wrong with your attention span? Let's see. Oh yes, Andor's downfall. I was pretty young myself when it happened. At the time, I thought that Andor's destiny couldn't be more boring.
How young are we talking?
Well, let's just say that I was a strapping young lad with a full head of hair, and Coruscant was a small town with a well. I was just about to abandon Andor to whatever the Force intended for him when his ship was overtaken by a Dimian warship. Now, you've probably never heard of the Dimians, but at the time they were a nasty lot led by a nastier overlord named Krat. Tall fellow, big teeth. Krat has us hauled onto the bridge of his ship for questioning, and that's when I knew that Andor's destiny was at hand.
How did you know?
Swirling force, remember? Jedi here. Granted, I was just interpreting the signs, but we get trained in that sort of thing, more or less. Well, Andor decides that his destiny makes him invulnerable and starts making all sorts of demands. Free me now. I'm not answering questions. Blah, blah, blah. Don't you know who I am? Krat decides he's had enough and begins crushing Andor's neck. I told the boy he should have kept his mouth shut. I think he agreed too, or this could have just been gurgling noises. No, well, anyway. Finally, Krat has enough of Andor and tosses him aside into this giant energy intake shaft. Andor gets sucked in and starts bouncing around, screaming. Maybe Andor hit something sensitive on the way down, or just didn't agree with the reactor core. Next thing I know, all the ship's alarms are ringing.
Yeah, you're got to be kidding me.
Everyone panics and I run, barely making it to the ship in time before the explosion. Krat dies horribly, and the Dimians never quite recovered. Changed the political course of the entire sector for centuries to come. I'd call that quite a destiny, wouldn't you?
And what does that have to do with you coming with me?
Well, hey, the chances may not be great, but when one has the opportunity to see something like that twice in a lifetime... Anyway, go on. My throat is dry and you're making me cranky. Shoo!
Just checking that I have the party selection option available. I don't want to come running back here to get rid of the extra party members, let alone go back to the ship to do it.
Got something on your mind? Oh.
And this fast love. I want to see if talking to her outside the ship will make any kind of a difference.
Jolie, may I have a moment? There's something I wish to speak to you about.
Yep, I figured it was only a matter of time until we had the whole come back to the order discussion. Well, I guess there's no avoiding it now, so let's get it over with.
I know you have issues with the Order, but you are a Jedi, Jolie. You command the Force. Without the guidance of the Council, how can you avoid falling to the dark side?
Well, I've managed to avoid it the last 20 years or so. Besides, light side, dark side, they don't mean the same to me as they do to you. I don't see in absolutes.
Yeah, Malak and Sith are evil, sure we can see that.
I want to stop Malik as much as anyone. But I don't have to join the Order to do it. Look at Karth, or Canderous. They're with us in this quest, but they aren't Jedi. The capacity for good or evil, like the Force itself, is in all living creatures. And belonging to the Jedi Order, or the Sith, or any group, won't change what you are at your core.
I see you are quite adamant. No doubt you've had ample time to think on this during your long seclusion. I guess it was foolish of me to think I could sway your position so easily.
Yeah, I'm old and stubborn. But I appreciate the effort. But from now on, you can just think of me as any other non-Jedi in our little group. With a lightsaber. And Force powers.
How can I help? Manan is a water world inhabited by an aquatic race known as the Selkath. Their only surface city and spaceport is called KOTOR. It is unique in that the Selkath are firm in their neutrality. They are neither part of the Republic nor controlled by the Sith, and they wish to keep it that way. Then I suggest we move on.
Oh, let's move on then.
Ucua penki, tangi tuamaji, human act in ikatune.
Glenn Prolik is dead.
Chiwi aita ka chong chicha. Agi inko tune, chunamuri ra, tangi tuamaji kona. Tongki pa nonku nek abog, chiwa aita kang kicha
Haradan
na
Weiser.
nibo. Kun muri ras nimo poiwanga, tangi tuamaji, human act in ikatune. Chiwa aita kang kicha na nibo. Kun muri ras nimo poiwanga, tangi tuamaji, human act in ikatune. Chiwi aita ka chong chicha. Agi inko tune, chunamuri ra, tangi tuamaji kona. Tongki pa nonku nek abog.
All the years of planning, spying, and digging there, yeah, they were. I guess there were other, Haradan members.
Achua penki, yun patisa.
Overseers of the, Haradan.
Kingu mwa mulira dwana. Inba nikcha lora kun. Tong hitwama aki inko tune. Potong hitwama ji aki inko tun. Tong pano kun, nonek. Chiwi aita ka chong chicha. Ki mulira kun kin. Kinba no kun nik lota. Jiska dosoki, kopa bono nakachu. Labora na winki smack toma. Kuyami jusku
Yeah.
chita
He's the only, Haradan overseer left now. Well, we always know he was out to get rid of the competition, just not quite correct in what the competition meant in this case. Not outside Hardown assassins, but other Hardown members. So when do I get to join? Yeah, I can, because I know the identity of the only surviving overseer. He wants to part ways without fighting. Nobody plays with me for a fool. He'll pay for these hulas. Okay, we can't fight here. I'm being challenged to a ritual combat in the Dune Sea. And I must come alone. So what's the visor like? Saving throws, awareness, demolitions, it's not all that great. The save +3 reflex it's not an amazing ability, but it's rare for a visor item. That's the benefit there. The Serpent of Saresh. She's light side. Well, she should use that. It's a massive boost to wisdom. She should have no problem using force powers anymore. We need to...
Yes?
Use the workbench on the lightsabers. We have at least a few extra crystals. So we should add abilities to everyone's lightsabers. Maybe get rid of one of some of the extra ones. Maybe color code the blades too, that way I don't have to go through all of them. I always know that green lightsabers are for Joey, for example. Purple are mine. Blue are Gianni's. I don't want to give yellow to Basila. Maybe the red one. Or blues. We could, because she's using a lightsaber staff, and Jihani is using single one-hand blades, so they're not going to get mixed up. I'm doing the running because I hope to trigger conversations. I don't think you can do it without actually spending some time running. Maybe you need to switch planets or something. Usually when you start a new planet like that, there's a conversation, at least very often. Yeah, let's see if I can wrap up the Genohara down business. Lightsaber, yeah. I will take everything away. Everything away for now. I want to have all the options available for me and take a look at the situation, what everyone gets. When did we get so many lightsabers? We'll put we'll put yellow crystals on things we don't really want to use. That way they don't get mixed up with anything else. Yellow is no. Always sell them off, I guess. What? How many do we need? We need one for me. Purple one. We need a few blue ones. So you need to be blue. Can't make you blue. Crap. Well, short violet, I guess. No. We'll do you. No. Violet. You'll be blue. And you'll be green. Everyone else is yellow. So. One-handed purple is mine, two-handed purple is Basila's, green is Jolie's, blues are Juhani's. Jolie is the wizard. He doesn't need all that much attack bonus. But they're all good at attacking. We'll give Juhani and Bastila, I think, the better attack ones, then we'll give the scraps to me and Jolie. No. Damage. Attack plus 3. Attack and keen. Damage, critical, massive criticals. Okay. Use none. Double bladed. You'll get Nexor, keen attack bonus, and massive energy damage plus 3, massive criticals, 2d6. So higher critical threat plus massive criticals. She could use something else though. She could use the ability. No, this won't work. She doesn't have the combat feats to make that work. So we'll have to do it this way. Juhani will get this. Astla will use the 2 lightsaber style. That'll work. At least very likely. Because Juhani will get a lot more combat feats, so I can get the improved critical strike beat line on her, and with a proper lightsaber and massive criticals that can do insane amounts of damage. But we'll see. Great Dragon Bear Pearl. Sure. Take it. And Robot. Attack and damage. Mm, attack bonus, attack damage. Yeah. Attack and damage. Boulder. So I'm getting arm robots +3 to attack. And robot is +1 attack, +1 damage. That was damage. Johnny will get the fewest crystals because he's very powerful with just his force abilities. He doesn't have to rely on the lightsaber for damage. Oh yeah. Huh. Hmm. Yeah, Bakan's blade. Holy crap. Has the criticals, attack, damage. It's a good blade, but we need sword upgrade parts too. Racial group droid damage becomes bludgeoning. That's interesting. No, I mean 2d6 damage, bludgeoning damage. Missions vibroblade. This is a terrible vibroblade. And we need more energy protectors. We probably should buy in general all upgrade items we see. I need to check the weapon upgrades too. There's a ton of them. This is fully upgraded, yeah. What about this? Good. We don't really have the upgrade parts. Oh, the bowcaster, it's not exactly a great weapon. Yeah, we're definitely missing a lot of things. Okay, get hard on. I want to get it over with. Come alone in the dew sea. It's a trap.
Incoming fighters!
Oh. Ah. I don't get it. Why skipping those cutscenes sometimes shows the desktop for a moment? Don't get it. Well, I can sort of guess, but
Excuse me, have you seen a mechanic about? Short fellow, bald. I've been looking...
Well, I'll be a Wookiee's uncle. Davin? Davin Coatrus?
Jolie? Jolie Pinto? Why, you old freak. Last time I saw you, you were still wandering the galaxy in that old tug. I thought you were dead, old man.
I crashed somewhere and decided to stay.
Yeah, I'll just bet. Damn, old man, you look exactly the same as the last time I saw you. You pickle well.
You're too kind. Not the young lad anymore yourself, I see.
Care to introduce your friend Jolie?
What are you, deaf? His name's Davin. Old friend from my Wanderer days. By the by, Davin, I really should be running off.
Of course, old man. Oh, wait. If you've been traveling in this sector, I suppose you heard about Sunry?
No, why? What's there to hear?
He's been picked up by the Selkath authorities on Manan for murder.
That's preposterous.
I know. Melora is beside herself, as you can imagine. Maybe you could help them. I'm sure Sunray would appreciate a Jedi's assistance right about now.
Perhaps I will at that. It's up to my friend here, actually. I'm just tagging along.
We could check into it when we're next on Manan.
I'd appreciate that. Sunry's an old friend. I'd hate to see him hurt.
Same here. Well, it was good to see you again. Give my regards to Alora if you see her.
I will. Be safe, old friend.
I'm not sure I want to bring these guys to the fight. I'm pretty sure it's a trap, but I'm still interested in... crap. Speak to Jolie.
Got something on your mind, dude?
Tell me about Sunry. How do you know him?
What? You think because I'm a hermit, I've always been a hermit? Just because I haven't seen Sunry for 20 years doesn't mean he's not a friend. A man could have changed a lot in that span of time, though. But to become a murderer, no. I can't see it. That's not the Sunry I knew. He was a good man. Put me up in his home for a year back after I left the Order. War hero, too. Or so I hear. I wouldn't mind helping the fellow if we can. I owe it to him. Or you can be a young monkey lizard and ignore me, I guess. Well, I don't expect much these days.
There's something else we could
Got
talk
something
about.
on your mind, dude?
You never did actually say why you decided to come with me.
No, I never did I?
Are you always going to be this elusive?
Elusive? Me elusive? Obviously, you've never tried to grab a Twi'lek dancing girl after drinking too much Onderan Willick juice. At any rate, I already told you why I wanted to leave. I'd seen everything I wanted to on Kashyyyk. Time to go. Time to move on.
You look plenty happy there to me.
You live in an overgrown stump with a tax beating down your door, and you tell me how happy you would be. I was pleased just to have visitors. How many kilometer-high trees can you find an interest in before you figure you've had enough? I'd bet you can't be bothered to stay in one room for more than 15 minutes. And then there's all the critters in the Shadowlands. I'm just happy to be back in space, doing something new. Is that too much to ask?
You could all do all that on your own.
So I could. Well, not having a ship does tend to put a damper on that kind of idea, however. I'll admit, for all its flaws, Kashyyyk was home enough. But when you came along and I saw the destiny you had before you, I couldn't help but be intrigued.
You know what my destiny is?
Of course not. Weren't you listening last time? I can see that you have a destiny before you, but the details are far from clear. In fact, everything about you that I can see is odd. Slightly off. as if my eyes are trying to trick me. Something is very dark about you. But, I'm sure you don't need to hear my ruminations. You've probably got enough nosy Jedi offering you one opinion after another to make you sick.
Tell me what you see.
Your future will come of its own accord, trust me. Sometimes navel-gazing at it doesn't get you anywhere. I wouldn't worry about it too much if I were you. You remind me a bit of Nomi. That can be all bad.
Okay, tell me about it.
Nomi Sunrider. She came late to the Force, just as you have, and became one of the greatest Jedi ever. Oh, fine lass. Whether you'll follow the same path remains to be seen. For one thing, we'll never get anywhere if you stand around chatting up old men all day.
So, you're along as some kind of an observer.
Nonsense. Have I ever refused to help you when you asked? How confused can one person be anyway? One thing I will say is that this little escapade does remind me a bit of my adventuring days before the war. Those were exciting times. Or at least it would remind me of those times if we didn't stand around. What's keeping you? You're too young to be so talkative. Shoo! Shoo!
How can I help? Tatooine is a dry planet that has not been inhabited long, and has little law. This town of Anchorhead may be its only settlement. Beyond that, there is little else I can tell you. Then I suggest we move on.
About Jolie.
Got something on your mind, do you?
What do you know about this place?
Well, unless you're one of the local species and end up being slaughtered or enslaved, Tatooine's a nice enough desert. And that's about all I got to say about that. Now, let's get going. Oh, I get it. Let's play.
Do we have to do anything else here? I guess we could go around shopping. I mean, looking for upgrade parts. We don't need it if we intend to properly arm only a couple of guys, but the more of the party we arm up and the more upgradable items we get, we need spare upgrade parts. It's sort of a shame to get an upgradable item and not be able to upgrade it. Okay, we're gonna dump you. And we're gonna step into a trap. I want to see how... basically get some kind of an idea how good my own guy is in a fight on its own, and are there any serious weaknesses? This should be at least somewhat tough fight, especially if I go there alone. So
Oh, it's you again.
so there's
Good hunting
a
out
good
there.
chance I'll die here. At least I know what the problem is after that.
Chiwi aita ka tong chicha. Agi inko tune chuna muri ra. Tangi wama jiko na.
Yeah, he's surprised I came alone.
Nonku nek abog.
I'll kill the others, I can kill you too.
Chiwa aita kan kicha na chupornibo. Kun muri ras limo kakincha na.
What are our options? Okay, we have Force Wave, that's a very powerful ability. Definitely take advantage of that. I'm not quite sure what should we take out first though. We might be better off taking out the secondary target. So 22 points of damage. It's quite a lot. Okay. Force wave spam seems to be working, but I forgot about that it actually does that. Well, this is so goddamn cheap. I'm all about cheap. When you fight alone against a swarm of enemies, you have to use everything you can. Nah, we let him heal up. Bit. Hey, anyone to the left? No, you. Ooh. We'll kill the walrus first. He seems quite weak. There's going to be a difference when we fight against lightsaber users. We can... Now we can sort of deflect a lot of the damage. And it seems like my force wave also bugged up a couple of AIs here. So it made the fight even more easier. All the melee guys are basically bugged out. No, don't do that. Shit. Miss. Just the antidote. Might as well use it. Frag grenades. 500 credits, hyper adrenaline. Geno Hardan mesh armor. So we did get a Geno Hardan armor. Environment shield level 3. Droid shields. 200 credits. Sonic grenade, Geno Hardan poison blade, another one that's good. There were a good sword. Geno Hardan blaster, another one. Lovely. Adrenaline strike. Okay, not too bad. At least we can deal with this type of enemy without too much issues. Death field. It allows to drain inner life force from other living beings. Probably should at least develop the force push to force whirlwind. The push is just a waste of an ability, and the AI might be tempted to use it. Although destroy droid could be very useful at times. We'll take the whirlwind first because the AI might actually be stupid enough to use it. No, destroy droid. There's a significant difference between disable and destroy. This is somewhat of a harmless attack. It doesn't really do damage and it might sort of disable them for a moment. This does the same disabling effect, but in addition to that it does a high amount of damage. And damaging drones has been sort of difficult for us.
Yes?
They have a great deal of damage resistance. or damage mitigation. So you need to do something insane amounts of damage on a hit to even penetrate that, to do even a few points of damage. So a strong damage weapon with a power attack is something you really need. Is there a shop here?
Huh. What's the winner of the Manan Sector Champion title doing here, I wonder? Must have blown all your winnings.
What have you got for sale?
Zerka Corporation only worries about...
Ja, trigger. But I don't think that's going to be a big problem. The armor parts and the melee weapon parts are the rarer things. I want to see if I can convince the swoop racer to make the terrible deal.
You again? I don't really feel like talking right now. I suppose you've got a right to know track business. It's not that I care.
Okay, I think you should sign the contract.
Do you now?
The best you'll get, you know it.
I'm still not.
Yeah, we don't have the persuasion. You could have, if you took the force persuasion or domination, you could force him to make the contract, but really, since we don't have those powers, let's not waste any more time with this. I do want to quickly take a look at this shop too. Again, upgrade parts. I don't intend to come to Tatooine anymore. Sound dampening stealthy. Ooh, mesh underlay. We only have 2 upgradable armors in use at the moment. I will get more, might not get more immediately, but I think after the next star map we gain access to at least partly upgraded inventory in the Javin star base. So it's a good way to burn through a lot of money. Karakan Gauntlet. Well, it's not a terrible gauntlet by any means. Fire immunity. No, we might have to, if we can afford after our spending spree in the space stations, we are left with any kind of significant amount of money, then we can come back here to get things like thermal shields, and there was the full electricity immunity, things like that. They might be situationally very valuable, but I don't see me spending 8,000 on something that may be useful in a handful of battles. Flamethrowers are mainly used by droids, and they're not all that common even on droids, so yeah. So, you know, Haradan business is over. I think I'll end here. it's either Manan or Korriban next. I think I'll leave Korriban for the last. We need a solid selection of equipment there. Probably money. And we have a few businesses on Manan already, so we might as well go there